Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a girl named Remy. Remy was the most beautiful girl in the village. Her skin was smooth, her eyes sparkled like stars, and her smile could light up the darkest night. Everyone admired her beauty. Remy had many friends, but they were mostly girls. The boys and men in the village thought Remy was too beautiful for them. They believed she was meant for kings, princes, and very rich people. They were scared to talk to her because they thought they couldn't take care of her. So, Remy, with all her friends in the village, walk and talk every day at the village square, which happened to be where Remy's house was. They would say, "Look at Remy, so beautiful and graceful. Surely she is meant for great things." And Remy would just smile and continue her day, unaware of how much her beauty influenced everyone around her. Everyone liked Remy. They really did. They thought maybe, just maybe, she could be like the queen of their village one day, because she was just so magnificent. Little did they know, Remy had a secret that not everyone in the village would like. But for now, they all admired her, thinking about how bright her future would be, maybe with a prince or a very rich man from another land. In the village where Remy lived, everyone was happy and friendly. But one day, things started to change because of a secret Remy kept. It started one sunny day, much like any other. But what happened would change many lives. Remy had a friend named Tolu, a girl with a kind heart and a gentle smile. Tolu was to be married soon, and her joy was like a bright light in the village. She had found love with a man who adored her, and their wedding was the talk of the village. But Remy, for reasons not even she fully understood, felt a stir of envy. She was jealous of Tolu and wanted Tolu's fiancé for herself. One evening, under the guise of helping Tolu with wedding plans, Remy met Tolu's husband-to-be alone. With words as sweet as honey and a look as innocent as dawn, Remy whispered and laughed until the poor man forgot his promises, fell in love, and slept with her. The betrayal was complete, and Tolu's engagement broke like a thin twig underfoot. When Tolu found out, her heart broke into a million pieces. The wedding was called off, and sadness replaced the joy in her heart. Remy's actions shocked the village, but it was just the beginning, because Remy didn't stop there. Like a shadow in the night, she did the same thing with another friend, and then another. Each time, she would smile and charm their boyfriends or fiancés, and soon, those men would forget their promises to Remy's friends, and then cheat on them with Remy. The village started to whisper about Remy. The women who were her friends became very careful around her. They didn't want their hearts and homes broken too. People in the village were hurt by Remy's actions. They felt betrayed because she was their friend, and friends are supposed to help, not hurt. The trust they had in Remy began to disappear, like stars fading at dawn. The smiles turned into frowns when people talked about Remy, not because she wasn't pretty or charming anymore, but because her beauty hid something not so nice. The village that was once filled with laughter and trust started feeling sad and cautious. Remy's sparkle was there, but now it reminded people of the tears her actions had caused. And so, the village changed, all because of a secret Remy kept doing over and over. As the days turned into weeks, more whispers followed Remy wherever she went. She had caused not just one, but a few more broken engagements with her charming smile and swishing dresses. The village was no longer as cheerful, and the big tree didn't hear as much laughter anymore. One sunny afternoon, the village elders called Remy to the center of the village. They were wise, with kind faces, and voices that sounded like they were telling old, important stories. They asked Remy to sit with them and listen carefully. The oldest of the elders, A wise man with a gentle voice but firm words spoke first. "We cannot let our village fall apart," he said. Remy had been like a flower in our village, beautiful and bright. But unlike a flower, she brought thorns into the hearts of friends. She used her charm to mislead, to break the bonds of trust and love. This cannot continue. The other elders nodded. They all agreed that something had to be done to bring back peace and trust among the villagers. After much talking and thinking, they made a tough decision. They decided that Remy had to leave the village. It was the hardest decision they had ever made, but they believed it was necessary to heal the village's heart. They called Remy closer to the big mango tree. The village was quiet. Everyone knew this was a serious moment. Remy came, looking as radiant as ever, but her eyes showed a hint of worry. The head elder told her about their decision. "Remy, you must leave the village. Your actions have broken many hearts and disrupted our peace. You must go and learn the importance of friendship and trust." Remy's voice was small when she spoke. "I never meant to hurt anyone. But her words faltered under the gaze of the elders and the hurt eyes of her friends in the crowd. The chief elder continued, "Our decision is made. For the peace of the village and for the chance of healing, for those you've hurt, you must leave. You must find a new place to call home, where perhaps you can start anew, learn better ways." Remy was banished. With only a small bundle of her belongings, she left the village. No one came to say goodbye. No tears were shed for her departure. The village felt lighter without her, even as Remy's heart grew heavier with each step she took. Remy traveled for days. She walked for many hours, over hills and across streams, until she reached a new village, far from her own, where no one knew her name or her past. This village was bigger, with more trees and houses that had colorful doors. It was a fresh start, and Remy hoped to be happier here. As soon as she arrived, people noticed her. Her beauty made the villagers stop and whisper, "Wow," just like back home. Soon, she made new friends, especially among the women, who admired her lovely dresses and the stories she told of her old village. These new friends welcomed Remy with open arms. They didn't know about the sadness she had left behind, and Remy felt it was a chance to be the person the village elders hoped she would become. The women were drawn to her, not just because of her beauty, but also because of her willingness to listen and her eagerness to help. Whether it was assisting in the cooking or caring for the children, Remy was there, trying hard to prove herself worthy of their friendship and trust. However, just like in her previous village, the men kept their distance. They too thought she was too special, meant only for someone very, very rich or important. Whenever Remy walked by, they would say, "Surely she belongs to a world of riches we cannot offer." They whispered among themselves that she was meant for a life more glamorous than what their humble village could provide. Remy's heart sank a little each day. She wanted to be liked for who she was, not just for her looks. She missed the easy friendships and the days under the big tree in her old village. Though she tried to fit in, a part of her felt like she was still the same old Remy, just in a different place. Would this new village truly be a new beginning for her? Or was it just another place where she would eventually show her true colors? Remy wondered if she could really change, or if the beauty that made her popular also made it hard for her to be truly understood. As the seasons changed in the village, so too did the color of the leaves and the rhythm of life. Remy, now a familiar face among the villagers, found a special friend in a girl named Tara. Tara was like the spring itself, full of life and laughter, with a kindness that reminded Remy of the brighter parts of her past. Tara welcomed Remy into her life, sharing her home, her family, and her dreams. One sunny afternoon, Tara introduced Remy to Akin, her fiancé. Akin was a handsome man, known in the village for his strength and good nature. He walked the fields with a smile and treated everyone with respect. When Remy met Akin, there was an undeniable spark, a connection that went beyond simple friendship. Akin's eyes held stories that Remy found herself wanting to be part of. Then, they started meeting secretly, just like Remy had done with Tolu's fiancé. As time went on, Remy and Akin started meeting more often. They laughed together, shared secrets, and enjoyed each other's company a lot. Remy knew she shouldn't, but she couldn't help liking Akin more than just as a friend. Soon, people in the village started whispering. They noticed that Akin wasn't spending as much time with Tara, and instead, he was often seen with Remy. Tara felt very sad and hurt when she heard the rumors. She asked Akin about it, and with a heavy heart, he told her that he had fallen in love with Remy. Tara was heartbroken, feeling betrayed especially by Remy, who was supposed to be her friend. Instead of confronting them, Tara turned to her mother for comfort. She told her everything and how upset she was. Tara's mother listened carefully. She knew the world well and told Tara that sometimes it's better to find peace inside than to fight. Tara took this advice to heart. She decided to focus on healing herself instead of arguing, hoping that peace would help her feel better in the end. Meanwhile, Remy was happy, but also felt guilty. She was thrilled to be with Akin, but she knew her happiness had caused Tara, her friend, a lot of pain. This made Remy feel really mixed up inside. Every day was a struggle between enjoying her time with Akin and feeling sad about hurting Tara. Remy kept thinking about all this. She wondered if being with Akin was worth losing her friendship with Tara and possibly others in her new home. This worry made her question if her new relationship was truly right, knowing how much it had already cost her. As Remy and Akin continued to be together, Tara's sadness hung in the background, reminding them of the friendships and promises that were damaged along the way. They both had to think hard about whether their love was worth the upset it caused and what that meant for their future happiness. The breakup caused a lot of sadness in the village. Tara, who was always so happy, now looked sad all the time. People who had been happy to see Remy become part of their community now looked at her differently. They were disappointed and upset about what had happened. Remy felt torn between being happy with Akin and feeling guilty for hurting Tara. She realized she had made a big mistake and wondered if she was doomed to keep making the same mistakes. She felt really sorry for hurting Tara and knew the happiness with Akin came with a lot of pain for her friend. This new betrayal brought back all the bad choices from her past, making Remy feel the heavy weight of regret. The village, which had been a place of new starts, now seemed filled with old sorrows. Remy stood at a crossroads, caught between happiness and regret, and hoped she could find a way to fix things and find true peace. Meanwhile, full of love for each other, Remy and Akin started to dream about their life together. They decided to get married, feeling happy, but also a bit scared because of how they had come together. Remy thought it was important for Akin to know where she came from, so she planned to take him back to her old village. Remy suggested, "Akin, I think we should visit my home village. I want you to meet my parents and the elders. I want them to know that they made a mistake, chasing away a beauty like me from the village." Akin, clouded by his love for Remy, nodded, understanding the importance of this step to Remy. "I'll stand by you no matter what happens. You've always been a good girl." he assured her, squeezing her hand. They went to Remy's old village to tell everyone about their plans to marry. This wasn't just a regular visit, it was a big deal for Remy. She wanted to fix things from her past, hoping that showing how much she had changed and introducing Akin would help heal old wounds. When they got there, the village elders and Remy's parents had mixed feelings. They remembered the trouble Remy had caused before, but they also saw that she seemed truly sorry and really loved Akin. Remy's parents were overjoyed to see their daughter. "Look at you, all grown up and radiant with love," her mother exclaimed, embracing her tightly. Her father, observing how Akin looked at Remy with deep affection, felt reassured. "You bring our daughter happiness. That's all we ever wanted," he said to Akin. The village elders gathered to meet Akin too. They remembered the young Remy, but they also saw the woman she had become. One elder, his voice thick with emotion, said, "You have returned with sincerity and maturity. We see your true growth, Remy." Another added, "This union you bring before us today, it speaks of redemption and second chances." Akin, deeply moved by the whole experience, felt his love and respect for Remy deepen. "Today, I saw the strength of your spirit, Remy. Let's build our future with this blessing," he said as they started their journey back. As they left the village, Remy looked back at the fading houses, her eyes filled with tears of happiness. For the first time in a long while, she felt a genuine peace. "We have a beautiful future ahead of us, Akin. I feel it," she said, her hand firmly in his, as they head home to continue their wedding preparations, now more eager than ever to celebrate their love, surrounded by those who mattered most. The long-awaited day had finally come, and it was just as beautiful as Remy had imagined. The air was sweet with the scent of flowers, and traditional songs filled the air. Guests from both Remy's and Akin's villages gathered under a canopy decorated with bright fabrics. Tables overflowed with delicious foods, and everyone was in high spirits, ready to celebrate Remy and Akin's union. Remy was stunning in her flowing wedding gown, which sparkled with every step she took. Akin, dressed just as finely, stood proudly by her side, his eyes shining with love. Their friends and family were all smiles, enjoying the festivity and experience of the joyful moments. The ceremony was filled with excitement. As Remy and Akin looked at each other, ready to exchange their vows, the village elder began to speak, his voice spreading warmth through the crowd. Everything was perfect until the moment when Remy and Akin were about to be joined together. Suddenly, Remy screamed and ran mad, creating chaos at the wedding. Without warning, Remy's joyful expression twisted into one of confusion. A loud scream cut through the music, and she clutched her head, mumbling words no one could understand. The sudden outburst shocked everyone into silence. Remy's behavior grew stranger by the second. She pushed away from Akin and stumbled back, her eyes darting around wildly, as if she was seeing things that weren't there. The wedding guests froze, unsure how to respond to the dramatic shift from joy to chaos. Akin rushed to Remy's side, trying to soothe her, but nothing he said seemed to help. Her screams only grew louder and her movements more desperate, as though she was fighting against unseen forces. The dreamlike joy of the wedding day was quickly overshadowed by confusion and fear. Then someone shouted, "Remy's mad!" As the confusion slightly settled, a few family members and close friends managed to gently catch Remy and bring her to a quieter spot to calm down. The festive day had turned somber, and the village elders quickly gathered to discuss what to do next. The people from Remy's village wondered what she had done to deserve this. They thought she had changed, but now they were confused. The people from Akin's village didn't know what to think. They were shocked and scared. Seeing the urgency of the situation, the village healer was called to help. Known for his experience with spiritual matters, he approached Remy with a calm demeanor. He murmured ancient prayers and used calming herbs in an attempt to soothe her. The guests watched anxiously as the healer worked, their hearts heavy with worry. Slowly, Remy began to calm down, her frantic breathing easing, and the wild look in her eyes softening to tears of fear and confusion. In a quiet room away from all the worried looks, Remy sat with the village healer by her side. She was quieter now, but still very shaken up. Akin stayed right by her, holding her hand, looking worried as he tried to make sense of everything that had happened at their wedding. The healer, an old man with wise eyes, gently encouraged Remy to talk. "Child, let go of what burdens your heart. Say the truth. Tell us all what you've done so you could be set free," he told her softly, his voice a comforting force in the dim room. With Akin and some family members around her, Remy took a deep breath. Her voice shook as she started telling her story, tears in her eyes. "When I first went to Tara's village," she said, "I was running from my past. Tara's mother, who was a respected river goddess, took me in. She knew all the bad things I'd done and told me to promise to change. She said there would be serious consequences if I broke that promise. I promised to live honestly, but," Remy's voice cracked with emotion, "I didn't keep that promise." Crying now, Remy admitted to starting this secret relationship with Akin, even though she knew it would hurt Tara, who was not just her friend, but also the daughter of the goddess who had helped her. "I didn't realize how serious my vow was," Remy sobbed. "I thought I could handle my feelings and control what happened. I was wrong." The goddess's words were a bond, not just a warning. Everyone was silent, taking in her words. Akin, shocked, was trying to understand it all. The healer spoke again, his voice grave. "The spirits mean what they say, and the gods don't just make threats," he explained. "You were given a chance to make things right, Remy, but you chose the same old paths." He looked around at everyone there. "We need to ask for forgiveness, not just from those we've hurt here on earth, but also from those in the spirit world." Then, right there in that room, the healer led a small, serious ceremony. They all prayed to the river goddess, asking her to forgive Remy and to be merciful. They prayed for healing for everyone whose heart was broken because of what had happened. As the prayers ended, Remy felt a little lighter. She knew it wasn't going to be easy to fix everything, but for the first time in a long time, she truly wanted to make things right, not just for herself, but for everyone she'd hurt. The wedding day didn't end with a party or laughter, but with deep thoughts about truth, forgiveness, and the strong ties between the divine and the everyday world. After everything that had happened, the village was quiet, filled with deep thoughts and a bit of sadness. Remy felt the heavy weight of her actions and the magic words of the river goddess. It was all too much. One day, filled with guilt and scared of what might come next, Remy ran away into the thick forest, leaving everything behind. Her mind was all mixed up, and she seemed a little mad, a clear sign of the goddess's strong magic. Remy's leaving was like closing a big stormy chapter for the village. People in the village felt a bit shaken up and had a lot to think about. Families sat together in their homes, talking about what had happened. Friends met up in the village square to chat about Remy and the lessons from her story. The elders of the village, who had seen many things in their time, talked seriously about being honest and true. They told the younger ones, it's okay to mess up sometimes, but you've got to own up to it and try to fix things. An elder pointed out, Remy's story shows us how lies can spread far, touching more lives than we might think. Parents told their kids Remy's story as a warning. They wanted their children to understand how important promises are, especially those made with a deep sense of respect for the sacred. They said, when you make a promise, especially to the gods, it's not just any old words, it's a big deal that can change your life. Some parents also added, and do not take whatever it is that is your friend's. If you do, you might just end up like Remy by paying way more than what you took in turn. Tara, who had been hurt a lot by all that happened, found a new kind of strength. Even though she felt sad about losing a friend and almost losing her fiancé, Akin, she learned a lot about forgiving and how complicated feelings can be. She and Akin tried to fix the relationship, as Akin also wanted to make things right. As time went by, the village began to heal from the shock and the talk. People learned that anyone could be tempted to make bad choices, but it was also possible for anyone to fix their mistakes. At night, around the fire, people would share their own stories about messing up, forgiving, and the good stuff they learned from tough times. Remy's tale turned into a kind of sad but important story in the village. It was a reminder that while their village was a cozy, friendly place, being honest and trustworthy, keeping your word, and respecting sacred things was super important to keep everyone together. In the end, what happened with Remy wasn't just seen as her own failure, but as something the whole village could learn from. It was a big reminder that their community was built on not just happy times, but also on the important lessons learned when things got tough. I hope you enjoyed the tale. If so, please like the video, share it with your family and friends, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell for more enchanting tales like this one. Goodbye.